How you guys doing? This is Chuck Burns for the USA on my YouTube channel here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for giving me your time, because I can't give it back, so I appreciate you spending it with me. This is a response video from a little conversation I had, a Twitter conversation with Nancy Otterby, at Nancy Otterby, and this is just, she was talking about like we need to get politicians, give them all term limits, and I'm okay with that for the president. I don't think the president should be in office more than 2 terms for sure. But definitely with this one, get rid of this guy, Obama. Man, got Kenny in the office. Sad, sickens me. Either way, though, she was saying for all politicians. I don't agree with that. And the reason I wanted to tell her she might agree with me if I told her why. And so I'm making this video for everybody, but specifically for her, because I want to show I'm responsive to the people that follow me on Twitter and think I follow back. So thank you, and appreciate you following back, and whenever I follow you, and so we get more people to listen, and either way, because I think that if the president was obviously a good idea, but I think for politicians, I think that we need that term limits are not a good idea for the House and the Senate. I think if we had politicians with term limits, I think we're using that as a solution to a problem that we're not really solving with the term limit. We're not solving the actual problem. For example, a lot of the problem that she said that we're looking at to make term limits a good idea would be the problem. I'm going to turn the TV off over here. It's probably bothering everybody. I got Fox going all the day long, so it's kind of just the way it is. But here's the well, I'm not at work at least. But here's the deal: is I think that where you still have problems, you see the corruption, the pork belly spending, sending money back to the constituents, by giving them funding for their projects, for giving them, tax breaks, whatever, through a loophole, whatever it is. And so, they get money coming in, they have an agenda, a secondary agenda, as opposed to just preserving the Constitution and doing their job. I think the solution to that, honestly, is basically to reform taxes for one. And so that there's not these loopholes and things that they can give out. If we did that, then guess what? Then there wouldn't be all this spending, and there wouldn't be all this pork belly spending and stuff going back because they wouldn't be able to give them anything. Make it and get rid of loopholes or pork belly spending completely. Really just get the government out of everything. Back to constitutional principles, like just provide a court system, defense of the country. That's it. Really, just to get rid of all. We really need to just dismantle the bureaucracy, and a lot of people lose their jobs, but over time, becoming more productive, more capitalist, more fiscally responsible nation as a whole. We need to do that. We need to work on those things. We need to work on getting like a flat tax rate, just or I'm okay with the progressive one, just not like it is right now, where it's punishing you pretty much for making more money. It really is. But I'm a flat tax guy. I would go something semi-progressive, wasn't onerous. But I'm more of a flat tax guy. That's the problem though, is that we were looking at all the corruption and the money in Washington, and if we got rid of that, then we would have the problem solved. And that's what we need to do more in term limits. Because term limits, I think, would hinder us in a few ways. You got to think about like Benghazi. With like Senator Graham, I disagree with him in some areas. I think he needs to read the Constitution. But what though? Him and McCain have been able to be so persistent about the Benghazi thing, get some of the information they've got, and keep it going because of people they know in different departments and sections of the government. If we were to put term limits on them, they wouldn't be there so long, wouldn't have the connections, and maybe I'll keep the investigation going as long as it has been. There's a lot of benefit to politicians who have been on the Hill for a little bit, and have a lot of people they know and got to know over time, because it allows them to get certain things done that are very important. I think, for example, getting the truth out in Benghazi. I would say that their knowledge of Washington and the Hill has been instrumental in keeping this alive. And so I think we're term limits are working for a solution to a problem. It doesn't actually solve the problem, And on top of that too, you're going to have, when you have a term limit coming up on that person, so you got somebody getting this one senator or congressman to do what they want for their corporation. They got a term limit on them. Well, they're already, what's going to happen is the corporation is going to start looking at the next person coming up for next election coming up, and they're going to start picking their candidate, having the guy that's already in there endorse this one, and put money in his back pocket when he gets out. Obviously, when this is all done, they win. Put this money in your back pocket because you endorsed them. It's like we're going to start actually having this this almost like the corporations. I think will start pedigreeing people and start picking their people. I mean, there's a lot of money in politics, and I don't think I don't think we should even try to compete with it. I think we should get rid of it by making the tax system more fair, but not giving people loopholes and breaks. And getting rid of it and doing something to limit whatever it may be. I mean, there's a lot of thoughts I have on this. I'm going to do right now to limit the way the things that they can spend money on, so that they can't send money back to the districts and to these people and these companies and give them benefits and breaks and stuff like that. But getting them out of that, it's not their role. Capitalism works. When you're putting money behind one person on another, you're not letting capitalism work. You're funding somebody who, may or may not have a better idea. And that's not capitalism, having them succeed if they don't have a better idea. So I think that term limits is a solution to a problem that doesn't really actually solve the problem. And that's what I would say. And also, too, you got to think, the reason that we have, the way the terms the way they are, and it's like they're, in ways, some senators seem to be like an institution in their seat, that's a good thing. Our founding fathers knew that kind of to a degree, and the reason they did that was because it prevents mob rule. I mean, you have these people that come out every 6 years, and they come out every pretty much this person this year they're up for a re-election, and this year they're up for re-election, and and it's basically like a third, at a time almost, pretty much come for a re-election every 2 years, and that's a really good thing because that that makes them more likely to keep their seat and less subject to the whims and the changing of the individual 2-year cycle. I mean, and congressmen, they change out a little bit more, but they're direct representation of the population. They're really direct. However, like I said, senators are more of an institution, and that's supposed to be that way because, like I said, they're the ones that you want to see there for a long time because they're not a direct representation of the population. They're a by-state, overall general reflection of the population, I would say, and that's a good thing because, like I said, you don't have the whim of the mob is not so able to overcome the good of the country. Because you got to think about the mob rule. Because really, we live in a country right now where we have half the populace that is uneducated to a very high degree. I mean, you go out and you ask 40% of Americans right now to point Joe Biden out of a picture of five old guys, and 40% of the country, almost half can't. And you got 25% of the country who doesn't know now that we won our independence from Great Britain. They did a study, and it's like, wow, you look at those numbers, and we have a very serious uninformed voter problem. And when I say serious, I mean terminal illness serious. And it's pretty bad. And the Senate and senators being an institution and harder to get rid of is very purposeful in that regard. Very, very purposeful because it keeps the mob from having such a just negative effect if it ever comes to be that on America as a whole. It's an important thing that we have it this way. It's very important that the uninformed voters it can be dangerous, and we're really getting to the point where it's not going to matter anymore. People are so uninformed. More than anything, we need to educate on that. And then I think you wonder about people voting properly and getting rid of people who do a bad job. If we had more uninformed voters, I think that a lot of this problem would solve itself because people would be smart enough to see what was going on and would vote properly based on facts and information and knowledge based instead of popularity contests, which is how Obama won. Right? Obama won a popularity contest. This guy is very charismatic. He's a fantastic speaker. He can really move people. Though so could Hitler. Right? It's like Hitler was a fantastic speaker. Don't ever let anybody say that he wasn't. Hitler was a phenomenal orator. He moved the whole nation to get behind the killing of millions of people. It's a hard thing to do. People have a soul to a degree. We have God wrote His laws in our hearts. If you're a Christian, if you believe that, or even if you don't, man has a written and built-in sense of morality. Even if we're inherently sinful or seem to make bad decisions, we still have that. That's why we know when we're doing something wrong. Most of us, crazies, know that they're doing something wrong. But he encouraged the whole nation to kill a million people. He was a great speaker. The sheep just got right behind him. Obama's the same way. He's a great speaker. And I really make a huge effort when I meet somebody that's that's African American. I just call them Americans, but I have to say that right now to differentiate for you. That they're being misled. Because they voted for him 94%. But by a 94% margin. I mean, they're doing the worst they've ever done under him. They got the highest unemployment rate at any ethnicity or group in the country. I mean, but they follow blindly, and it's you watch the videos on YouTube. Like these people are just like, I'll vote for Obama, give me a free cell phone. It's like, I don't mean to put no slang behind like that. I shouldn't even done that little accent, but they say things like that. And it's like, they don't realize they're tearing our country apart, and I have nothing against them. I want them to be part of America. I want them to appreciate what we all have here, me and them, and I want us to all be equal. And it's hard to watch those kinds of things, because we're encouraging them to be ignorant to a degree and stay that way with a lot of the programs that we've instituted, and it's sad. I mean, they vote for liberals, but I mean they don't realize that Democrats in the South were the ones who had the Jim Crow gun control laws, keep them from so they couldn't protect their right to vote. I mean, the people that were that are their enemies are not the ones that were in favor. We're not the ones that were the people that want them not in favor of their rights were the people that passed the Jim Crow gun control laws. I mean, those were the Democrats. I mean, it's somehow they got them behind them. Somehow they got that whole group behind them now, though, and it's like, wow. I mean, then you got Planned Parenthood that the African American community, doesn't realize was started by Margaret Sanger, and she was she has made direct comments during her life about how Planned Parenthood was a great way to control the Negro population. It's like basically through like eugenics, selecting the people we do and don't want. She didn't want the black. It's like the people they support, the Democrats, are like huge Planned Parenthood people. And it seems to me they just don't know history. That's a perfect example of this uninformed voter. And that's why it's important not to have those term limits and have some people that are institutions, because that way that majority of the country, or that direct reflection of the country, the House of Representatives, is offset by this institution. It's the Senate, and right now it's the other way around. Since the Senate is offset by the House of Representatives, which is Republican right now, and then we need to win back the Senate. I mean, and get back to presidency 2016, start in 2014 with the Senate, I hope. But that's a matter of us articulating our views properly, is it not? So I just look at it and say, we have there's a reason there's not term limits. Our founding fathers were very, very intelligent in the way they designed this. I never question the Constitution pretty much. Every time I look into it. Except for the amendments that they didn't pass, of course. I question those a little bit sometimes. I mean, I look at some of them, look at the way they're worded, and I realize they're not too intelligent. I mean, we get past that, and then Woodrow Wilson passed the income tax thing where they can tax us, the whole government can. I mean, they should be able to get their money from tariffs and things like that, and use of harbor use and stuff, or because they do build. I mean, they funded themselves that way for years, but they can't fund themselves when they're doing the social programs that way. That's why we have the income tax, and theoretically we should be able to do the income tax completely. Not have a sales tax either. States can do that if they want to a degree. But yeah, that's how I feel about that. I mean, I just think we need to be more wary of because that's one of those things that seems to go term seems like so good of an idea. It seems like you can just jump right behind it. But you gotta think our founding fathers did what they did for a reason. When you think like that, you say, well, what was that reason? And you dig into it a little bit, you find out what it is, and you're all, oh, that's a very good point. Because I used to think the way you think, Nancy Otterby. I used to think term limits sound like a great idea, and it'd be a good way to get rid of it. But I really put some thought into it, and I thought, what? I can see how this would be bad, especially with our voting populace right now, just so uninformed, so ignorant. I mean, not just African Americans that we're talking about, but voters. I mean, they're pretty much socially conservative, but they vote on one thing consistently: immigration. They vote Democrat. They don't realize one president ever gave them amnesty ever was Ronald Reagan, Republican. Democrats just leave them out with a string, a carrot and a string in front of them, for a promise just to keep them voting for them. I think they'd rather not have the immigration law passed if they keep the carrot and the string. I mean, right? You'd say we have even like you look at Texas right now. Texas, one of the last bastions of freedom. I mean, a good state to be in. They've realized they can't get to the adults, so what they've been doing. They've been corrupting the kids. And evidence of that. Look at the things that are popping up on the news. The core program. It's a highly left wing, put together like learning agenda. It's like they're finding this all over Texas. This core program. like the parents starting to look at the students' homework and going like, "Wow, this is gnarly." And they're purposely. I hate. I don't believe in coincidence. And our schools have been progressively dumbing down our kids. And you look at something like our founding fathers, like George Washington said, and Ben Franklin both said that it is necessary for this government to work to have an informed voting populace. But an informed majority for the voters. To have a non-ignorant, you know, voting group. That without an informed populace, this form of government is very subject to the mob. Very much so. And they put things with the Senate in the way that the terms are, between elections, or how long each seat lasts for, but they have to go for re-election. They put all those things in there in the way they did to kind of try to combat that as best they could, having the foresight to see that. And we just need to be careful. It's one of those things that I guarantee you, I think that we'd be surprised how quickly Democrats were on our side. How quickly they would be run to that. Oh yeah, let's do that, because they want us to make mistakes like that. I think they want us to make mistakes because they've been dumbing down the kids. The voting populace is the voting bloc is uninformed, and here we sit with Obama as a president. The proof's in the pudding that what they've done has worked. And I think the term limits would be playing into that whole agenda. Very much. I think we regret that. I really do. I hope that answered your question, Nancy. I hope that's if you have any questions, of course, comment in the video, tweet me. I'll try my best to answer them. Direct message me if I don't see your tweets. I know you got a lot of followers. I got a lot of followers. We just got over 1,000. You got over 1,000. Sometimes your Twitter feeds 100 that are up on the screen on your homepage can change in every 30 seconds. It's like so. Just direct message me, and I guarantee you I'll get that, and I will make a video reply or reply to you if it's short, the best I can. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for watching my channel, Chuck Burns for the USA. Twitter right now. If you want to try, I'm trying to get this 20 out, trending out, saying enough of it. Tweet I no longer consent, and I no longer consent. We basically know that the Declaration of Independence says that the government derives its just powers only from the consent of the governed. And we consent to the government and the power it has, and without that consent, we don't have any power. Well, I no longer consent. So what I'd say tell people to do is tweet it, and tweet it with just tweet I no longer consent hashtag like that. And I do the lowercase no because the big side of the no and the I kind of get stuck together. Your eye glazes over it, but if you do uppercase, lowercase for the words, then it's more apparent what it says, I think. So tweet that right there. Tweet the first one, tweet twice. Tweet the first time, why you don't consent, what the government does that you don't like. And then tweet again what you're going to do about it. Because more important, we all talk to each other and tweet to each other, but we already agree. That's why we're talking. That's why we're all friends or Twitter buddies or our tweeples and stuff. Tweeples instead of sheeples. Either way. We all talk a lot and we all agree, but if we sit here and just talk to each other, we're not going to affect the change, then nothing's going to happen. So we need to make an active effort to show why don't we make the government listen and show other people why we don't listen. It needs to be now. It needs to be now. There's no better time than now. And it's every day we get farther and farther down a hole that's going to be harder and harder to dig ourselves out of. We have to pick the time and place in the battle. We have to pick where our fights are. Because I'll tell you one thing, if I've ever learned anything in tactics, is that when you pick the place of the battle and you pick the time, you win. Because you pick that time and place for a reason. See, I tell people Republicans say, watch what happens when they come for my guns. They'll give them the ammo first, and try to pry it from my hands, my cold dead hands. And like you're all. Problem with that, bro, is if they ever get to the point where they're coming to your front door and doing it, it's gonna be too late. They pick the time and the place, and they pick that battle. They're showing up on your doorstep. We've already lost. We can't let it go that far. When they pick the time and place in the battle, they have the advantage. They've chosen that moment, that place, and that time, and they're ready. And I'll tell you one thing, if it's happening, I'm going to go find them people, going door to door wherever they are, and take care of business. I don't want it to be that way. That's why we need to affect change. We need to go out and talk to people. We need to tell them what we're going to do to make them know this before it ever gets that far. That's why I say, I pray we do it with ballots, but prepare to use bullets. 1776 at any cost. The revitalization of this country and the Constitution, no matter what has to happen. And it's going to happen one way or another. I'll guarantee you that. people who violate the Constitution are traitors and heinous criminals in my book, and they deserve to be treated as nothing less than traitors. So thank you for watching, Nancy. Thank you for everybody else for watching this. Hope you've been a good little informative thing on firmaments and stuff like that. Sorry about my little shtick at the end here, but I think it's important that we all realize how serious this is and how much we love our country and what we need to show it. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Thank you for giving me your time because I can't give it back, so I appreciate you spending it with me. Start Burns for the USA. Check out the channel. See Burns 4 VTA. That's at Burns 4 VTA on Twitter. Have a good day, guys.